I know where buttons are. I can do the things. Hey, welcome.
Button. Who's got the button?
Total Spotfest coming back at you here. JJ, Jamie, Austin. Sorry we're a little late. We were talking a little shop and a couple other things here, but hello, welcome. Thank you for joining us. Jamie, Austin, how have you guys been this very warm week?
Now that I have functioning air conditioning, I've been great. I'm spending it indoors.
I know you're so you moved. You're in your office now that you got a webcam finally for your home office.
I'm actually in the same spot. I just have an L-shaped desk, and previously
I
was
okay.
And I got a new webcam, moved it a quarter turn.
It looks like
an optical illusion.
It looks like a totally different room. That's weird.
It does.
Yeah, it's great too. I don't know if y'all can see like the real. You can kind of see behind me over here in the corner, like the real shitty '70s carpet in here.
It's
Like
awesome.
the lady that used to own this house was
Yeah.
like 90 something, and yeah, got some sweet retro carpet in here that I'll probably never change.
And I love the curtains. I don't want to say they remind me of curtains from my grandma's house, but they
Dude,
kind of remind me of curtains from my grandma's house.
dude, it's a straight up grandma's house. There's like handrails in the bathroom and shit.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's actually real convenient sometimes because like you get done wrestling, the legs are a little tired. Sometimes you want to make sure you don't eat shit getting into the shower.
Not gonna lie. Whenever I have a hotel room and it's got like the handy rail or the accessory, what is it, accessible shower or whatever, it's actually really nice.
Oh, yeah.
Not gonna lie.
It's great. Or like you do. I don't know if I'm sure this is a fairly shared human experience these days, but where you browse your phone too long while you're sitting on the toilet and your leg starts falling asleep, having that handle right there, man, game changer. That's my tip for the week is if you buy a house, buy it from an old person. Comes loaded with amenities you didn't know you needed.
The bonus. It's not a full stash of knowledge. That's just an Austin Reddick bonus.
That's a free little tip.
Yeah, it's a free tip. Just the tip.
just the tip. Jamie, how you doing, man? I know you are, well, not now, but in the mornings, starting for about, I don't know, 8 hours a day. You are sans 3 women in your house.
Yeah. School is back in session. My wife is going to school. Actually, she's not going to school. She's going to learning at her job as a nurse. Like she's doing the NICU thing and all that. So literally, I am home. So I'm like, what am I supposed to do? And it's just like, there's always barber college.
Hold on, I gotta get my pen out here.
Yeah, that was an obvious one, guys.
That was an obvious one off the bat there. Must be nice. I mean, yeah, Jamie in like quiet, in like, silence. I don't think he knows what to do with himself, right?
It's really weird. It is really weird. I like chaos. Like that's why I like wrestling shows, because I just like loud, obnoxious chaos. It's like it's a beautiful thing.
Well,
that's why you used to have wrestling on all day long. That's what I do. I work from home and I've got some kind of wrestling from some era on my other monitor most of the day.
Well, as soon as the news broke today, I was going back on YouTube and watching old stuff. Is ECW stuff is some of my favorite. Yeah, we'll talk about it. But yeah.
Well, we're not going to bury the lead too far here, but we do want to thank you guys. Thank you for watching. Thank you for joining us. We do appreciate you giving us some of your time. If this is your first time here, hello, welcome. We hope to see you back. Hit the like button down below and the follow button. You can hit the bell to let you know when we go live or upload a video. As always, if you're joining us live, wow, excuse me there. Oh my God! If you're joining us live, please.
I
might die. It'd be YouTube gold. No. Hop in the live chat, join us. If not, just hit a comment down below. You can always hit us up on X, otherwise known as Twitter. It's actually the first time I referred to it as X off the bat.
Yeah, and it's not retweets anymore. If you notice, it's reposts.
If you go on your browser though, it's still twitter.com.
X.
I don't know, but we're on whatever Elon Musk's ego machine is at Total Spotfest. So
that's fair. That's fair.
Well, I think we should. We're not gonna beat around the bush. There was a shockwave. I'm sorry, it slipped, Heather. I will not do it again. I promise. I still have the Twitter logos, by the way, for all of us under our banner, just because I refuse to do that much work. But what I don't refuse to do is make work for my good friends when they have their own segment, because on a day like today, we need some knowledge in our brains more than ever. Wouldn't you say, Jamie?
Understatement.
So let's dive right into it, because this is what the stash of knowledge is going to be. It is time for Austin Reddick's stash of knowledge.
I'm growing it. I'm trying.
Hey man, it's coming in. We were talking before the show. Jamie hangs with Austin Reddick for a couple weeks, and it just starts growing. He's gaining knowledge week over week. Yeah. So no need to pretend otherwise. We are going to address the sad news that hit the wrestling world today. We lost a man that basically is the pro wrestling business in Terry Funk.
Yep.
If you have seen me wrestle from time to time, you probably know I was influenced by, stole a lot of shit from Terry Funk. This is a man, and so like I'm not a person that is typically like affected by celebrity deaths. Like
Sure.
circle of life thing, people die. Like remember the cool shit they did, pour one out for them. But I don't take these things personally. But yeah, this definitely brought my afternoon down pretty hard. Terry Funk, I've always thought that if you had to embody what pro wrestling is, it would just be Terry Funk. That is a pro wrestler. And in my estimation, and many others feel the same, the absolute greatest pro wrestler of all time. Not the biggest star necessarily of all time, but a lot of times the biggest stars, they're guys that would have been stars in anything they ever did. They just happened to wrestle. Terry Funk just is pro wrestling. He could have fit in every era, and he more or less did. A lot of people like myself didn't really get exposed to Terry Funk until he was already middle-aged and diving through barbed wire for ECW. And what a gift it was to later on down the line through the magic of the internet see all the other rad shit Terry Funk did for literal decades before that. If you haven't spent too much time familiarizing yourself with Terry Funk's work, the ECW stuff is obviously classic, and I'll let Jamie mention the ECW stuff here a bit in a minute because I know that's your favorite era, the Funker. But definitely go back. I believe these matches are available on YouTube, but there's one in 1977 for the NWA title against Harley Race. That's phenomenal. And there's another one from '89 WCW where he takes on a super young Eddie Guerrero. And he's in the middle of feuding with Flair for the NWA World's title and goes out there for 10 minutes and makes Eddie Guerrero look like $1 million. And that's
Eddie Guerrero on the map.
Yeah. If you want to like one example of how just damn good Terry Funk is, go back and watch that match. Because that is the art of pro wrestling in all of its motherfucking glory.
Yeah. Oh man. So Terry Funk for me, I the first time I got exposed to him was watching ECW, circa '95-ish, when it was like hard to find, but it was like, oh, then it was on TV. You're like, oh god, I'm watching this.
Oh, the late night access. ECW.
Yeah, the late night. Yeah, late night access, and then like you saw the pay-per-views, and one of your buddies like got it or whatever. And back then they weren't terribly expensive, but I still like to this day, one of my most memorable moments with Terry Funk is he lost this match, but it was one of the greatest hardcore matches I think I've ever seen, and I think it gave ECW that notoriety. It was him and Dory going against Public Enemy. I don't know if anybody remembers that. It was like circa 94, 95, somewhere in there, and my god, it was one of the nastiest matches I've ever seen. But I was like, I need this in my life. Like that's like I was instantly sold, and then when he became Chainsaw Charlie, like it was even better, like because then he went to the Fed, and I was really into the Fed at that time. It was just, oh god, like I cannot speak enough about how great he was in that. And he's also in one of my favorite movies of all time. It's a guilty pleasure, and Roadhouse.
Straight gorilla pressing people with no wires. Fucking extras like, I don't get paid enough for this shit being thrown through a drum
If
set.
you don't drink, you're out of here. God, it's so good.
I'm not counting that one, okay?
That 100% counts. That's a gimme.
Okay,
Giving
all right.
everybody
Fine.
a gimme.
All right.
One
fine.
gimme.
Terry Funk, I wasn't super into ECW when it was on the rise up. You know, at the time, I wasn't super into wrestling, but then I became a WCW guy, and then part of that also drew back my old affection for WCW, right? And then years later in life, going back and watching some of that stuff too, because you look at some of what Terry Funk did. Let's talk about the embodiment. He has great feuds with so many people. Mick Foley, of course, the shit that he did in ECW. But before that,
Jack, yeah.
Hayabusa, stuff with Ric Flair. Every one of his Ric Flair matches was a fucking banger,
Dusty Rhodes.
Rhodes. I mean, they got down and dirty. And, I've never seen, to this day, people try to recreate it. And you talk about this, Austin, and I think it's one of the best things. There's so many things that first happened in a Terry Funk match that are trying to be recreated throughout history. I love every chair in the arena goes into the ring moment where you expect some chairs and no, you have literally a fucking chair shop being thrown inside of the ring. Terry Funk to me, because I didn't really catch him at his prime, much to like you said there, Austin, right? But go back and have the appreciation. I have the same appreciation I have for. I look at it being the kind of the audiophile that I am. I look at Terry Funk, and I put him in the same light as Elvis Presley, the Beatles, Led Zeppelin, David Bowie, Ramones, right? Because everybody today, and you can go on Twitter and see that, everybody going to town, everybody today has a debt of gratitude to pay to Terry Funk. Anybody that does anything hardcore, but he was so much more than hardcore. Every match he was in was like his last match of his career, right? He put every heart and soul into it. And everybody talks about how great a person he was, but my God, we talked wrestling Mount Rushmores a few years ago, and I don't remember if we all had, I don't think we all didn't have Terry on there, but damn it, we all should have. He deserves it.
Agreed.
Yeah, absolutely. And I saw it mentioned in the chat, but while you were running down some of his great feuds, Brody in Japan was, I believe at least one of those matches is on YouTube as well. So if you get a chance, we talked a few weeks ago about blood and wrestling and how it doesn't really mean as much anymore. If you want to see blood and wrestling or blood means something to wrestling, go watch Terry Funk and Brody in Japan.
Yeah. I mean, he's crazy. So while he was in ECW, he was also wrestling over in Japan, International Wrestling Association of Japan. He was also in All Japan for almost 20 years. He faced Abdullah the Butcher over there, the Sheik, Stan Hansen, Bruiser Brody, to your point. He was in the Fed for 1 year. I just pulled up just all this stuff. He was in WCW for a little bit as well. ECW, then his run in WWE. I still love that run in WWE. He's an icon, man. When you think about the guys who did it right, at the end of the day, you always talk about these guys who put their heart and soul and everything, to your point, but then they did it the right way. They mentored the younger ones and grew people and did those things and left a legacy that's more than just amazing matches. That's the thing. Terry Funk transcends 7-star matches. Kenny Omega is always going to be known for the 7-star match, right?
Yep.
He's always going to be known for that. Terry doesn't need that at all. His legacy is far greater than one match. And we literally lost a heavyweight today. And, I think, Austin, you hit it right on the head earlier. This one hurt. There's a few people that I know when they go, I am going to be shit for the day. When Sean goes, Like that's my guy. Hell, when Jericho goes, I mean, I don't know. This iteration of Jericho is just a little annoying. But like wrestling wise, and definitely Terry is really high on the list. It's just him and Mick Foley. Like I put those two together in almost everything, but Terry's even and Mick will even say this, head and shoulders above him. And yeah, we lost a great one today.
Yeah, Terry Funk, I mean, obviously, aside from just being the greatest of all time in general, he was the greatest of being the other half of whatever you wanted your name to be. Whatever guy you wanted to be a star, put him in there with Terry Funk, run a program, and you got him. Like, you could plug and play any company, didn't matter, any era, throw Terry Funk out there. And I think the one thing I do want to touch on really quick before we move on, I think one of the greatest things about the Funker is that he realized when his time at the top was done, and he spent decades after that just putting other people over and just being an entertaining part of the show. And it's hard to think of other guys that reached the heights of an NWA World's Champion that didn't just try and keep milking in on top guy money and just see what they could take from the business, while Terry Funk's out there like, hey, whatever you need me to do, whatever I think is going to be funny. We talk about the Chainsaw Charlie run. I was fortunate enough to be at No Way Out of Texas in 1998 and got to see Chainsaw Charlie in that 4-on-4 match.
Wow.
And
oh, right.
I do have to sadly say I would have been like 11 at the time, so I didn't really appreciate that I was getting to see Terry Funk perform. But 11-year-old me was bought the fuck in on Chainsaw Charlie. Like, I thought that was madman. He might actually take someone's arm off with a chainsaw.
Hell yeah.
You even think of later in 98. You got a guy, Terry Funk, that's been in blood feuds. He's been in like all these great angles, but still popping crowds like in the Hell in a Cell match between Undertaker and Mankind when he literally gets chokeslammed out of his shoes. Like, that's one of those things that vividly still makes me randomly laugh today that I remember from 25 years ago.
I always forget that Funker was a part of that moment, you know, but he absolutely was. Got chokeslammed out of his shoes.
So yeah, pulling out for the actual legend of pro wrestling.
Here's to you, Funker.
I drank all my water.
All right, you don't need water. But anyway, I'm sure that it's not the last time we'll talk about Funk because, like I said, his legacy lasts throughout wrestling. And we'll put a pin in that because I do have something from tonight's Dynamite that kind of ties into that. So this has been your weekly stash of knowledge from Austin Reddick. So, oh man, that's great. Well, we got pay-per-view. It's no longer sign pointing season. It's time for pay-per-view season because All In is this Sunday, gentlemen, and we have All Out a week later.
Yeah.
Jamie still hates this. He still says it's the dumbest thing on earth. I can see it in his face.
I do. I 100% do. Like, I thought it'd be bigger.
Wait, you thought All In would be bigger or All Out would be bigger?
All Out. We actually had a conversation. JJ and I had a conversation today about how I personally thought the card for All In was meh. Honestly, like, there was just some stuff that just got slapped together. And I just didn't feel like there was enough build, like we've talked about. And like some of them I'm just not thrilled to see. They did some correction tonight because there has been some backlash over across the pond about the card that they are getting for the 80,000 people in Wembley. So they made some quick adjustments. I think they made some good adjustments. I think they made some questionable adjustments. But at the end of the day, it's still going to be a good show. Was it the hype level that I want it to be? No. All Out's just a joke, if you ask me at this point. Unless like they make it a stipulation crazy thing, like you said, Austin. Like, I'm in. I'm bought in then. Like, I'm back in. Tag me in. But right now, just tag me out, and I'll just walk off. And, just leave my guys as I do my heel turn right there. That's how I feel about that.
So the closer it gets to All Out, and still, like, yeah, they didn't really do anything for All Out tonight.
We got two matches. so
They're
far.
taping Collision afterwards, so maybe that'll shake some things out. But honestly, the closer it gets to All Out with stuff not announced, the more hype I am for it. Like,
It's going to be a shit show. It's going to be great.
there's, I don't know if you gentlemen or anyone listening watch the UFC, but there is a random thing that happens in the UFC, and you don't really have to watch it to like follow this. There's a random thing that always happens in the UFC that if like a big fight or two falls through, like coming up on a card, whatever they scramble and puts together always ends up being way better. So I've got probably undeserved optimism that they're gonna throw All Out together at the last minute, and it's just gonna randomly be flames across the board.
I mean, there was a pay-per-view. I can't remember which one it was. Jamie, if you remind me, but I think it was like 2 years ago, one of the AEW pay-per-views where they had a couple things they threw on last second. We're like, what the hell are they doing with this? And one of them ended up stealing the whole pay-per-view show. It was like that match was unbelievable. I can't remember who it was, but
it was Revolution when they threw on the Orange Cassidy versus Pac match. That got announced in Kansas City. It was right before the shutdown.
Right, because we were to go home. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Like they threw on just some random shit, and oh my goodness, it was flames. Like I was like, "What is this?" Like I think that's the moment I actually fell in love with Orange Cassidy as a wrestler.
Well, I think that's when, because Orange wasn't like super over. He was just over by then, right?
He was more of a gimmick at that point.
Right, but he did that match, and it was like, wow.
Yeah.
So they did do Collision real fast. Collision, I did watch it this afternoon. I didn't watch it over the weekend. I had stuff going on. There's Gold Vampire, who's really with a bad GT go to sleep. It was CM Punk. He accepted Joe's challenge.
It was a little rough. The
rest of Collision I thought
he got Joe on his shoulders though. So
the rest of Collision I really liked. I thought it was fine. I think Collision's still good. Jamie and I talked about this today earlier as well, Austin. We want real fast before we get into Dynamite. I want your take on this. CM Punk, is he phoning it in, not give a care, or does he know that he can do whatever the hell he wants and he's now basically the golden boy?
I don't think he's phoning it in. I think he does know he can do what he wants. I think with CM Punk, he's just one of those guys that whatever he thinks of to do, he just assumes that's like the best thing. If that makes sense. Like I don't think it's necessarily one or the other. I just think he is 100% convinced himself that like what he's doing is good and gonna work, and it's just not always the case anymore.
Yeah.
I'm still.
There's a 5-person match for the Collision. There's a 5-person match now for this upcoming Go Home for Collision.
There is.
It has like they just slap people together again, so it's gonna be one of those magical matches. Like, hey, we're just gonna throw a whole bunch of people in here and see what happens. That are wrestling it all in. So it's like, okay, like so you have Orange Cassidy, CM Punk, and the Best Friends going up against somebody from the BCC, I think, and Samoa Joe's gonna be there, but I don't think he's actually gonna be in the match.
No, he's gonna be on commentary, and you got CM Punk, and you got a mystery opponent, and one of them's whatever. It's just like a random hodgepodge of people. I don't know. Hey, Collision's still good times. Like I said,
It is.
I'm having trouble catching it live just because I got things going on and football starting here very soon. So I'm definitely excited for that. You're excited for NFL. I'm excited for both. I think
I'm excited for both. I mean, as a Notre Dame football fan, yes, shun me now. We'll officially be a part of the Big Ten probably no later than next year, so it'll be all good. Everybody be happy, and they won't make it because we always think we're like the shit and we're mediocre. It's all good.
Should be good. Are you into football at all, Austin? I know you guys chose a team when you moved to Denver. You chose a basketball team.
Yeah, so I mostly watch mixed martial arts and basketball, but I do watch a lot of football during the football season.
I mean, you are a damn
Uh,
Texan. I think if you didn't, they you could put in jail, right?
yeah, so football is one of those things. Like I don't think about it from the second weekend in February until right about early August when it's about to roll into the preseason, and then
Okay.
I start keeping an eye on stuff, get ready for fantasy football drafts and all that. That sort of thing too. Like I like to play fantasy football and I like to catch whoever I got playing to watch them. The reason I am not a fan of any particular team is being from Houston. I was a Texans fan for the better part of 2 decades, and then we moved, and I washed my hands of that garbage
You mean
franchise.
Oilers?
So the
Oh no,
Oilers
you
were
moved. That's
gone.
right. Okay,
Yeah,
never
yeah,
mind.
we
Never
moved.
mind.
We moved. Yeah. We moved to Denver. I watched the Broncos while we lived there. We moved here. Chiefs games are on the afternoon, so like if the Chiefs win, I'm cool with that. But I mostly just watch for fantasy, and it's just something that's on every weekend. Same thing with
Yeah.
college football. I went to an FCS school, which Sam Houston State Bearcats won the football title a few years ago in FCS.
Yeah, they're actually pretty good.
But yeah, FBS, I don't have a team, but whoever's playing on my TV on a Saturday afternoon, I'm going to tune in and watch if I got nothing better to do.
That's good. I will say this. This is a guy who has family all over North Dakota. My whole dad's side of the family's from North Dakota. I got a lot of family in Fargo. Got a lot of family with NDSU. And it's a hockey state, 100% up there in North Dakota. But my God, NDSU fans, like my uncle, he probably is like as into football as any fan in the SEC. It's for an FCS school, but they are very serious about it. So no disrespect to any FCS lovers out there.
I think it was either North Dakota State or North Dakota. I think it was North Dakota State.
It was
One
North
of them
Dakota State.
in
And
the FCS title game.
UND's 100% hockey school. Their football team's there.
Yeah, like North Dakota State was in the title game like every year because Sam Houston lost to him one year, then beat him one year, then I think lost to him again. Like they were.
Yeah, they won like 9 championships in the past like 12 years or something stupid like that. Yeah.
But yeah, football season. Excited for that.
Oh, well, sorry. We got totally off track there, JB. Get us back on track. Let's talk about Dynamite.
Yeah,
Sorry.
well, I mean, do we want to talk about my fantasy football team names? One team is called Lion Tamer.
One really quick second before we move on from Collision, because I didn't see it, but I did read what happened. Positive development that I'm 100% here for is Big Bill as Ricky Starks here. Like they paired them together.
Yes.
And I like where they're going with that.
Ricky Starks is suspended because he attacked CM Punk, I guess. I don't know. He's suspended for for however long. So he went and got a manager's license so he can be on Collision every week. And he had to look for somebody, so he picked up Big Bill as his guy. And I'm like, bravo.
Classic pro wrestling angle, and Ricky Starks as the mouthpiece for a literal giant. You can print money with that.
Yeah. Because
let's go.
Big Bill, W. Morrissey, Kaz, whatever, he doesn't need to say more than 4 words ever.
Well, he's 7 feet tall, and you can't teach that. That's not from a movie, though. But anyway, so real quick, my team names, so everybody knows. This year, I named one Lion Tamer. Then I have unsolicited Dak picks.
He's had that one for a few years, but it's a good.
And then, because it was replaced 2 girlies, 1 cup, because obviously, girlie's gone. And then my other one, who it's been my team name since 2002, Twinkie Huggers.
Word.
So there you go. Those are my 3 teams. I used to have a lot more, but anyway. All right, let's talk a little bit about the Dynamite. It's started off hot. I will definitely say the Elite versus the Bullet Club Gold, Juice Robinson and the Guns, which their entrance is still cold. I just love it. What did you guys think of this match? It was a quick match.
This wasn't really a match because
was it though?
I love that Rick Knox gets just straight punched at the very beginning before the bell rings, right? They all go to shit, and then he pulls the chair away from Juice Robinson. So Juice settles this by just straight cold cocking Rick Knox. I love that. It's fantastic.
So FTR comes down to make the save for the Bucks, and then of course Takeshita comes to take out Omega, sets up all that good stuff. Omega almost got Takeshita in the one-winged angel. So my thoughts here, gentlemen, actually my questions on your thoughts, let me rephrase that. Okay. Based off of these events in any typical go-home show, how do you feel about these matches?
I actually feel, my opinion of the whole night is I feel like this was one of their better go-home shows.
Yeah, their last one and this one have been pretty
Yeah, for the longest time, they've never had good go-home shows, right? You know, which is fine because the pay-per-views, like to your point, Austin, were fucking stellar, right? You know, but I thought this was a very good go-home show, and Takeshita looked great. There's a couple matches we don't need to worry about, right? MJF, Adam Cole, we know is going to be great, right? FTR, Bucks, don't need to worry about that, right?
Mm-hmm.
I feel good about this. I always have. I hate even saying it, but it's almost because Bullet Club Gold, not a problem, right? They're gonna be just fine, okay? Eddie Kingston, I'm jumping matches here. Bullet Club Gold, I feel is gonna be fine, right? Kenny, not worried about him. Hangman, not worried about him. Only one question I have about the match, you know. The one time we've seen him, he looked rusty as hell, and we haven't seen him since. So, I don't know.
Get those bad thoughts out of your damn head right now.
I want to love it. I'm so excited he's here, but it's just like my evidence. You always say, you always say, give me the evidence. Or give me the examples, right? You know, I have one example to show you.
How dare you use my words again?
To counter your example, though, and to give Jamie some hope so he doesn't die over there.
Please, thank you.
I do remember after Blood and Guts, Ibushi saying that when he got into the ring, he got like tacks in his shoe that were like fucking with him the rest of the match.
Understandable. There was a million tacks in there.
So it is pop now. Granted, like if I went out there and just kind of looked off and at myself and bad, and there were tacks and it was a convenient excuse, I would probably look to something else. It's a natural human reaction. But that being said, I'll give him the benefit of the doubt, and especially like I think the 3-on-3 is a little bit more geared towards what you really want to see out of Ibushi, rather than like Blood and Guts was just, it was kind of a weird thing.
Blood and Guts never made sense for Kota Ibushi. Let's be honest.
I thought the kind of have a match but don't have a match was a little weird. This whole opening segment, like it was entertaining, had some cool stuff. It was perfectly fine. It just felt like they didn't feel like they needed to commit too much to driving the story with any of these guys into the pay-per-view. It was, hey, let's throw everyone out there in this match for the first, 10, 15 just to get them on the show, and let's move on.
Completely agree with that. I right on the same point with you. I feel like this did little to help blow up the matches, because I mean, there's nothing more you need to do with FTR Young Bucks. Legit.
Yeah.
We all can agree that is the quintessential banger. Like that match will fuck so hard, is gonna be ridiculous. Like everybody's gonna need a cigarette afterwards. That's how good that match is gonna be. Okay, we know this. The triple threat, I think we already know how good that match is going to be too. Like, we don't need to mess with that either. Like, this added no extra flames. They did that later, but I felt like this didn't really change or anything. I know when you have good guys going out on top, that's typically a sign that they're going to lose at the show.
I mean, that's a typical Fed trope for sure, right? It's not always the case in AEW, though.
Well, is it though?
Not every time.
I'm going to bust out some history on you. Right?
I know you are, because I just use your own words against you. You're going to have to retort on me somehow. I know how this goes, JB.
Yeah, it's not a Fed trope. It's a trope, okay? Like, it's just a thing. If you come out strong on Go Home, 9 times out of 10, 90% of the time, you are going to lose at the show. Very rarely, Omega can take that loss. Takeshita needs that win. Very obvious.
I'm with you there. Yeah.
And with everything going on with FTR and their legal things, I can easily see them dropping to the Bucks. But if they're going to settle things out and looks like everything's going to be fine, I could see them keeping it too. It's one of those things.
The fact he was there tonight leads me to believe it's not.
Well, Tony on the media call, they talked about like everything's like, hey, we're supporting him. We're, invested in this investigation, blah, 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 blah. Like he gave the usual thing,
Right. He's got a pay-per-view to sell, and he can't back out of that match.
Exactly. So what did you guys think about the Adam Cole and MJF separate interviews?
Austin, you go.
Yes.
Yeah.
I only have one note. Well, I have two notes.
So I thought MJF's, it started a little weird. Like it wasn't bad or anything, but like the British, like it was like this weird mix of being a face and a heel at the same time that just like didn't really land for me.
He's the 2023 version of the British Bulldog if he was Jewish and had a good and was a good speaker.
Yeah, like
I love that quote. I'm sorry, I had to write that down. That was so good.
Yeah, just like I didn't really know what he was kind of going for. It got like a little more serious as it went on, but yeah, it was. Yeah, I don't know. Like after it's I get doing the sit down interviews on the go home show. Like, hey, that's your title match, your main event, your big show. But there has been so much just like silliness so far. It was just kind of it was kind of weird. Like it was fine. It wasn't bad or anything, but just kind of weird.
Mm-hmm. I have a thought. Because Heather kind of stole my thought a little bit, but to Jamie's point, yes, Jamie gets to pat himself on the back here. I know.
Too far away, I can't reach it. Or it'd be on my head right now.
I'll just give you a quick little stamp there and take it away. We saw the beginning of Adam Cole's heel turn tonight. And for MJF, this is what thanks for joining us, 3Pete. Thanks for joining us. For MJF, I think we're going in on face and we're doing this new type of face where it's that just a total dick, but in a good way, right? So everything, like you said, even the way he talked about the Brits. Oh, I love being with all those cross-eyed, crooked teeth, people. It's like a slapstick face almost. Yes, Jamie, I'll give you another stamp. Okay, yes, I know. That's what I thought. So I feel like for Adam Cole specifically, I think, and Heather said the same thing in our live chat. You saw the beginning of a heel turn. And I have more thoughts on that later on, unless you want to incorporate the other interview that happened later in the show into this. Fuck it, let's just do it. So,
yeah, we're gonna do both of them together.
Well, all three of them together, because there was also a Roderick. We didn't see his foot. I hope to God there's a cast on that foot, but Roderick Strong still in his neck brace, Sad Roddy, and the Kingdom.
I need to order one. I really need to order one and wear it. So, okay, This is what's going to happen. I'm going to wear it for the post show of All In.
You don't need to order one. Just go to Home Depot or go to Joanne Fabrics, for God's sake. Just get a big thing of foam and just cut it, and boom, there you go.
I want it to be authentic. I want it to be authentic.
Right. If you do the Roddy neck brace, then the next week you need to have it again, but like a tuxedo jack with no shirt, and do the Joel Gertner from ECW.
Oh my God, yes! Yes.
He's writing it down. I know he's probably gonna do that.
That would pop so hard. That'd be so funny.
Fantastic.
That should be like right around Halloween time.
But they
Oh.
so all Roderick said was just one line. Okay, a little whimpering and a little bit whatever, but he said one line to Renee. He says, by the end of All In, we're going to find out who the real MJF is, and we're also going to find out who the real Adam Cole is. Faction. It's like I said, it's going to be the Kingdom and Roddy are going to be part of Adam Cole's AEW version of Undisputed Era, right? Whatever that may be called. I feel like it was like written out to us in crayon on a giant whiteboard, right? That's what I got.
Right there with you. As you know, I've prophesized this, though my prophecies have been a little off lately. I've prophesized this one, and I feel it to be true. You will get heel Adam Cole. Full face turn for MJF. Just do the same swappity swap that they did for the ladies. Even though I feel like Britt's gonna turn heel for too long because she sucks as a face, and I know she's dealing with some injuries, but whatever. But I feel like that's gonna happen. Gonna happen, guys. Just accept it.
So I didn't. So this was something about the Go-Ho show that did click for me, and I may be wrong, but I got a real strong feeling tonight that MJF is leaving All In a fucking heel and probably still the champion. I think his babyface shtick got a little too I don't want to say a little too on the nose, but it started to all click he's clearly going to pull the rug out from under you, and he's still the same MJF he's always been. And I don't know about Roddy and the Kingdom. I don't know what's going to happen with them. I don't know if Cole's going to try and turn on him too. I just got the feeling that MJF is not turning face, and that I think all the stuff he's been doing over the last few weeks makes way more sense if it's just a big, I gotcha. It's just such a heel move, and it fits with his character so much.
It's pretty on the nose, not gonna lie. It feels like that's the pretty on the nose part.
It's started to get to the point where it's almost like a little tongue in cheek. Like I said, I don't know what's gonna happen in the main event with Roddy and the Kingdom and Adam Cole's part of it, but I'm fairly convinced now that MJF is leaving All In a heel.
Well, Heather actually had a good comment about that. She said, hot take, they both tried.
I like this.
They meaning Adam Cole and MJF, unless I'm misspeaking here, Heather, correct me.
That's the way I read it.
Yeah, they both tried to make a deal with the Kingdom. So what if the Kingdom was sent to console Roddy on MJF's behalf? And they come out to do the screwing over, and then they turn on Roddy, which gets Adam Cole flustered, and MJF reveals this grand master plan the whole time. And does exactly what you said.
Yeah, I think something like that. I think it is going to be a little overbooked. I think it's going to have a lot going on for your main event of this big 80,000 seat Wembley show. But I think they've probably got anyone that's buying a ticket largely bought into this story, so I think it'll still work and it'll still be good. But yeah, I think there's going to be double crosses and.
Well, we just spent 5 minutes saying, giving a bunch of reasons and different angles we can go with this. So it's not like it's overplayed. There's options here.
My only thing is with so many options and how much interest there is, once again, why are they wrestling on the fucking pre-show? You couldn't have gotten a popular indie tag team from the UK to fight Aussie Open for the ROH tag titles in your pre-show, get a nice local pop for somebody. It just doesn't need it. There's so much else going on. You don't need that.
I feel like it's. Go ahead, Jamie.
Yeah, I 100% feel like the pre-show is to create that dissension between them, because one of them's going to cost the other the match, and then they're going to have that heat for the match. But you don't need that. You built it up beautifully today.
That's my
You
point.
don't
Yeah.
need that. Like, I agree. You could put somebody else in there. Hell, put the guys formerly known as Bear Country. What are they called now?
I don't even know what they're called now, but yeah.
The Iron whatever Foundation.
Dark
Iron...
Order. You can put Dark Order up there.
Yeah.
Don Castle's
somebody.
boys. I mean, come on.
Oh, give me some Dalton Castle.
Ready in whichever the Martin brothers isn't currently hurt.
Yeah.
Oh,
Or give me sad. Chris Statlander versus Ruby Soho.
Hey, Ruby.
Hi, Ruby.
Beat you.
I'll wait till we get to that match, but that did get somewhat teased, which
I have many thoughts on. You guys know I have many thoughts on that. But yeah, I agree with Jay 100%. It's like that's what that was meant for. It's meant to create tension, but you've already made enough tension to this other stuff. So either that match is no longer necessary, which is, to your point, Austin, it's not anymore, right? We don't need to make this tension because you've already built it up. You didn't need to do all this other stuff. Maybe you could have had, I don't know, a second women's match instead of doing all this shit. Just say.
Or like you literally have the Kingdom. Why don't you have the Kingdom wrestling for the ROH tag titles on your pre-show? That would be great too.
Shitload more sense.
Perfect.
With Roddy at ringside, and maybe Adam finally comes out of the bag. He's like, "Hey, Roddy, I finally got some time to talk to you," and Roddy's in the middle of managing a match.
Oh my God, that'd be so great.
He comes down and gives Roddy a rascal.
He sees him like struggling on it, so he rolls out in a rascal and is like waving to everybody and just gives.
And then that distracts the Kingdom. They get beat, and then the main event, they come out and beat up Adam Cole, and MJF leaves with a title. And it all ties right back together.
Heather's calling for a double turn. Heather's calling for a turn with the Kingdom, and then the Kingdom turns and joins MJF, and so it's
You can't triple stamp a double stamp though.
Yeah, well, apparently she's booking it that way.
I definitely see the end of that match involving the Kingdom coming out and getting in the ring where you're not sure who they're going to jump.
It's going to be Hogan Goldberg from 98 all over again. So there's going to be 18 people at ringside before the end of the match.
Some way. Yeah.
Really quick about late 90s WCW. While AEW still has Sting, can they please do the gimmick where he drops from the rafters and pulls off the Sting mask, but it's just him underneath?
That was the best.
That was one of the best moments. Yeah, I love
that. They did that without the dropping from the rafters part.
Oh, that's right. They did do that.
He was in the crowd with the Sting mask on, eating popcorn, and then he pulls the Sting mask off, and it's Sting.
Yeah,
Sting is a gift that keeps on giving.
Well, he's giving on Sunday. You want to talk about what led up to let's talk about what the hell is going on with that match, Jamie?
Okay, yeah. So we'll get to an injury was reported yesterday, so we have a match to confirm.
I actually have an update on that too.
Yeah. Weird. So we'll put a pin in that guy, but yeah, let's go ahead and talk about good old tornado tag team match, Darby Allin and Nick Wayne versus Swerve and AR Fox. Excellent match. If you like watching Darby Allin get the crap kicked out of him for 95% of the match, actually it was Nick Wayne who got the crap kicked out of him for 95% of the match, and find some magic way to win. A typical Darby Allin match.
I do love Darby Allin's suicide dive because he's the only one that I can actually say that move is aptly named because he goes way too fast.
I have to say this, and Austin, you might have seen it differently, but I completely believe Swerve Strickland saved his life. Like, because he was going head first for the announce table, and Swerve literally grabbed him and pulled him into him because he mislaunched. And I saw Swerve just grab and pull to save that man's life.
So I would 100% agree with you if it was anyone else diving out of the ring. But I've seen Darby just like fly head first into random ringside furniture so many fucking times. I don't think he can be killed by that.
He can't be killed by conventional weapons.
No, you can throw him into literally any somewhat rigid structure and he will survive. But otherwise, yeah, that looked like it was going to be rough. Yeah, the match was fine. The fallout from the match was a little confusing.
Confusing, yes.
Yeah. So I I didn't 100% hear what a fan said, but I'm pretty sure they said exactly what I was thinking. So Brian Cage comes out post-match, beats him down. He's leaving with Swerve. Sting comes out and all that, all that stuff. He's leaving with Swerve, and then Darby's like, because he just jumped AR Fox out of his little faction. Darby's like, so who's your other guy going to be? Well, Brian Cage is standing right the fuck there next to him. And I'm pretty sure a fan was like, isn't it you? Because you're standing right there. Because I saw Brian Cage turn and go, yeah. Like,
but no, it's not Brian Cage.
So, why?
I don't know.
Maybe I missed it. Did a graphic come up for the updated match?
Yes.
Did it get fine?
Yeah, so I have thoughts on this. And
okay, here's the graphic.
Hear me out. So first off, AR Fox got jumped out.
He's fired from the embassy.
He gets fired, but then he's cool with Darby again, so I guess he's face again. So it's like, hey, let's bury him. But then we're going to bring out Christian and everything. So it's going to be Darby Allin and Sting going against Swerve and one Christian Cage. This leads Jamie to believe, yes, I don't have my hat on, but this is happening. The reason they did this is because they've officially signed Edge, and he's going to show up at All In.
That makes a ton of sense.
That does make a lot of sense, and that would be rad. Quick shout out for Christian's promo on Nick Wayne.
Oh my God, yes.
Oh, yes, we are going to talk about yes, please.
Oh yeah, we'll get to that in a second. So is that the official match? It's Swerve and Christian.
Officially, yes. It's still a tag. It's still a 2-on-2 match. 2-on-2 coffin match. Because I was feeling like, okay, we've got ourselves a 4-on-4 coffin match, I guess, now with AR Fox and Nick Wayne and all this. Because Christian came out and cut a promo on one person, and it was nobody in the match. It was Nick Wayne. Oh, my God.
And I think I missed the graphic. So leaving that, I thought it was going to be a 4-on-4.
No.
Brian Cage were Luchasaurus and Christian against Sting, Darby, AR Fox, and Nick Wayne.
Luchasaurus, Brian Cage, AR Fox, and Nick Wayne are doing dick all. They'll be ringside. They'll be
for
involved.
The match itself, I hope it's what you're thinking, Jamie, and it's because Edge is showing up. That being said, I could also see it being because they saw Sting and saw the other side was AR Fox and Swerve. And AR Fox and Swerve are both phenomenal performers. But what is Sting going to really do with them? Even if it's a gimmick match, I think swapping out AR Fox for Christian gives Sting a little bit more to do.
It makes more sense on paper, 100%.
And more offense to take as well, because Sting can't really bump for a lot of AR Fox and Swerve shit, being 63 years old or whatever he is. But Christian can hit some safe stuff on him. So, and I think that was part of it too. I think a lot of your international audience, they know and remember Christian as much as anyone else from the heyday of the 90s and the early 2000s, and they thought maybe that was a slightly better attraction. But I really hope it's because Edge is showing up. That'd be rad.
That's my guess. But
there is a known history. I mean, there is a shared history between Christian and Sting from back in TNA, right? So the pre-Hogan TNA, by the way, thankfully.
I seriously thought you were going to say there's a history between Edge and Christian. I was about to shit.
A little bit. That makes a ton of sense. Before we talk about the promo, the only thing that I get all this, it makes sense, but I hate the fact that AR Fox, because I pontificated, was it 3 weeks ago, something like that, how much I loved this whole AR Fox, Swerve, Prince Nana, just break them off, have them be their own thing. This is, and they just wiped their ass and threw it in the toilet after 2 weeks. It's like,
and AR Fox was a lot better as a heel. He was more entertaining. He still does the same amount of flippy shit in the ring, but now there's a little edge to him. And putting him with Swerve was great.
You're only line Swerve up with either somebody from Seattle, Darby Allin, or random ass feuds. This was actually something that you could do random shit with, but it's still got a purpose because they have this black man militia thing going on, right? I'm cool with that. I thought it was great. And they got rid of it. So
quickly. Or it's a ruse. It's not a ruse. All right, so let's move on from this. Let's talk about the...
Wait, we gotta talk about the promo.
The promo.
Oh, yeah. Oh, sorry. Okay, my bad. I
Yeah.
thought we already kind of talked about the promo. The I'm going to attack Nick Wayne's dead father promo. That's all I got to say about that.
It's a Christian trope now, attacking somebody's dead father.
The delivery of those first few lines, because a few weeks ago when Nick Wayne debuted, it was just getting memed all over the place. Christian, I hear you have a dead father. And then he's like, I hear you have a father, and that he's dead. And it was so like drawn out and like perfectly delivered. Oh, and then just following up with Buddy Wayne. I never heard of him. He must not have been very good. Like,
Yeah.
And he doubled down on the double down and kept going into it. And, it's just like you could tell. First of all, I love this Christian. I love this just
Absolutely.
evil heel
Same.
Christian. Always been my favorite Christian. And the man can still talk. It's just fantastic. And
I used to hate him as a face. Love him as
and
a
the
heel.
heat he got from it was fucking great. The crowd was fantastic, by the way. Way to go,
Yeah.
Atlanta.
Yeah, don't be around, or you're gonna see another loved one get put in a coffin. Yeah, I was like, wow. That's the great thing about Christian. Christian does not care. Obviously, he checks up. There's like, can I talk some shit at your dead dad? Is you cool with that? Yeah, okay, great. It's gonna get great heat. You're gonna see people are gonna love you.
he's like a low key one of the greatest promo guys of all time. Like when you're thinking
Right.
of like the great talkers, you don't necessarily think of Christian, but every time you hear him talk, you're like, oh yeah, that guy can cut the hell out of a promo.
So good. So
as
good.
a heel,
Yeah,
I don't
but-
like his face promos at all.
No,
Heel
no,
promo.
he's a natural heel.
He's not a good face. What's up, Clint? All right, so let's move on, Jamie. Where do you want to go next?
All right, well, let's talk about the news that was already broke, I think, on Tuesday or maybe even Monday. Rey Fenix was injured.
No. I misspoke when I told you that earlier because I read a bad source.
Oh, no. It was on no.
Oh, well, I know the reason why he's not on a all-in card. It's not an injury, but yeah, go ahead.
Well, yeah, he's got something else going on, but like they said that he was possibly unavailable is what I read in my stuff. And so that's how they wrote him out.
So I read
When-
from Wrestling Observer, and it was copied in some other ones too, that the reason he's written off the card for AEW for All In, is because of visa issues, because he's currently trying to get permanent residency in the U.S. It's also a reason why he wasn't at Triple Mania last month and had to vacate a AAA title, because he basically can't travel outside the U.S. right now.
Yeah, that's what I saw as well.
Yeah, I saw that he had something going on. Like they
I
said
heard
that
he was.
he was
Yeah, I read
unavailable.
same thing. I heard something he was injured, but it didn't say what it was.
Yep. So they
Everybody's
wrote his
saying-
ass out.
They What did you guys think about this match? Let me ask you that.
Well-
I thought this match was flames. Like I thought it started a little weird with Mox just beating the piss out of him,
Mhm.
and then it was just going to be, oh, he's just jumping him off the show, but then after about 6 minutes of that, Rey Fenix just started popping off with his cool lucha shit, and I thought the match itself was phenomenal. It looked to me like Mox went out there was like, all right, kid, you unfortunately got to miss Wembley, but we'll go out there and kill it tonight.
I loved this match, not just because
That's
I
what
love Rey Fenix, but my
Yeah.
God,
Easily match of the night.
100%.
So for me, this match, I mean, first off, Moxley didn't bleed.
Amazingly enough,
It was an amazing match for Mox where no blood was shed.
Maybe it was out of respect for Terry Funk.
Maybe that's what I was kind of thinking too. Like legit thought that, like while I was watching, maybe he's not bleeding because Terry's known for it and Terry passed,
Yeah.
so this is Terry's thing.
I felt
I'm
a
not gonna
lot
bleed tonight.
during this match about Terry Funk, about
Yeah.
how much, because I think
Pile driver, all the things.
And Moxley has said how much he loved Terry Funk in the past too, right? But if you look at who is a Terry Funk-esque person, there's a lot of people influenced by him, but who would you say is the modern version of Terry Funk? I would say Jon Moxley.
It's Mox, and that was something I forgot to mention earlier. Just talking about Terry Funk, Mox seems like he's very much on that Terry Funk career path of he doesn't need to be in the main event. He's going to go out there with whoever you want to put him with, make him look great, and he's just going to keep doing it because he just fucking loves pro wrestling. Like, I could see Mox continuing to do this shit for like 20 more years in VFW halls and wherever he shows up to. Yeah, like Mox very much seems like the next that guy.
The night after, the day of Terry Funk's passing, he goes out there with a luchador and puts on this type of match.
Yeah.
He can work with anybody, man.
Fantastic.
So after the match, the rest of Blackpool Combat Club goes out there and just beats the hell out of Rey to officially write Rey out.
With crowbars.
But then, out of nowhere, here comes Ortiz, whipping around a butter sock, if anybody's ever watched iCarly. So got the sock, and then behind him, here comes Santana. So proud and powerful, LAX, whatever you want to call him, back together, even though there's been tons of animosity between those two dudes before the injury. So I'm wondering if that's been healed or whatever. I don't know. But they're going to be on the Blackpool Combat Club team now. So it's going to be a 5-on-5 instead of a 6-on-6.
Yeah, I was thinking about that earlier today because I know last week my guess was Dark Order to fill in those extra people. But I know it had been rumored that Santana and Ortiz were supposed to be coming back soon. And like in hindsight, this seemed like a layup. I wish they would have done it a little bit differently where they had, your faces, best friends Kingston come out, even the odds. One of them comes out to give the BCC the advantage. The other one comes out looking like he's going to fight, whichever one you want on which side. But then he turns around and starts beating up best friends of them as well. And then you get that little reunion moment where you kind of tease it a little bit. But it's rad to see them both back and in this match. Like, they've been a huge part of AEW for a lot of its run. So it's good to see them back at Wembley.
Well, and I was confused a little bit about it too. Heather says this crowd seemed confused. And I think what it was, because you were trying to do three things at the same time, right? You're trying to write off, in the ring, you're trying to write off Rey Fenix, right? So you have the whole crowbar thing. Outside the ring is where you're doing all that. You're doing it in two parts where you have Ortiz come out and confront and stop them from going into the ring. And then you have Santana behind who has the music and the reveal. And they're doing it all at the same time. So it's just like,
very discombobulated.
Probably one of those things that, like, you're thinking through it in your head and putting it together. And you're like, oh, yeah, then this will happen. And then it just goes out there and it happens. And then in hindsight, you're like, oh, yeah, that was a little bit more of a clusterfuck than I thought it would be. It happens sometimes.
Yeah. So I want to save the Mox. I want to save the Jericho
contract signing to the end.
For the end.
That's good.
Because I feel like there's a lot to be said for that. There's a lot to unpack out of that. The Young Buck FTR interview was awesome. I thought those two went at each other just enough, and you could tell they were kind of riding the line of brawl out stuff there too a little bit. Saying, hey, we're paying you type shit. Like, it was good, even though they were both kind of heelish towards each other. I enjoyed it. I don't know what you guys thought, but I felt like it was perfect.
I thought it was fine. And once again, it's not needed.
You didn't need it, yeah.
No, it was. Here's a little, you had the little run-in and save earlier in the night. Here's a little sit-down interview. That reminds me, though, hopping backwards in a segment, post the Mox or BCC, best friends, all that stuff. Eddie and Renee's interview in the back.
Oh, did you see what your husband did?
Was like, I love the fact that they don't ignore that is Jon Moxley's husband, and it seemed like a very real moment. Like,
yeah,
it was just such a nice little touch for that feud and like what to expect on Sunday. I had to call that out thinking back on it because it wasn't much, but it was perfect for what it was.
Eddie is king, dude. Eddie is king.
it's so
Like
good. It was
he
so good.
does. He loves the little thing. Like get that camera out of my face right now. Blah blah blah. Like what are you doing here? Do you see what your husband did? Like I was like, oh yes.
It's
Way
so
to bring
good.
that home. So we did have two different women that we have not seen recently on Dynamite. We've seen a lot of Sky Blue on Collision, but we have not seen her on Dynamite. So we had Ruby Soho
Hey, Ruby.
going up against Sky Blue, and we've seen this match before. I thought it was an okay match.
It was fine. It wasn't a bad match. It wasn't a great match.
It was a filler match.
It was a match. It'd be one of those that'd be nice if it was like one of two women's matches throughout the night. So it could be like the other one, right?
Not today. Not today.
It was all right. I think Sky Blue could probably use some more time on Rampage or something like that.
Mhm.
RH maybe.
Because there's flashes, and like with Sky Blue, her moves, like in her move set that she does regularly, she executes really well. Everything else is just like a little too slow and safe, where it kind of takes you out of the moment of what's going on in the match. And that's the things that you just polish up over time of just having more experience. But it looked like Ruby was working her ass off to keep that thing moving along and selling really hard for her. Watching that match, the first thing that came to mind for me was I need Ruby Soho versus the Bunny with like a good 12 to 15 on Dynamite.
Ooh,
I think they would go out there and just tear it down.
that'd be a great match.
It'd be
Like,
after Ruby gets her loss to Chris Statlander.
Oh, yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
damn
that's
you!
the thing.
Damn you!
Because they're both just there to lose, so it'd have to be like a double DQ or something. But the two workhorses holding everything together, I want to see them get like a 15-minute Dynamite main event.
Yes. It's worth it. It's so worth it.
Actually, though, I could see Ruby taking the TBS title from Statlander temporarily to move it on to some babyface they want to put it on.
Which is
Although
fine
at the
because it
same
still
time,
counts. Just give it to her for a week, for God's sake.
I think you could give her a nice little like couple week long transitional champion run.
A month. Sure. Knock yourself out.
My only thought against that is you really haven't had Statlander do anything with the title yet.
Which is another reason why I think it's a good idea to do that, right? So here's my thought on that whole belt, right? It was Jade Cargill's belt. It was made for Jade Cargill. It was placed upon her shoulder and then just left there for pictures and photo shoots and media junkets, right? That is the goddamn purpose of the belt, pretty much, right? I know, it's whatever. That's why it was. That's what happened. And then you finally took it off of her in a very, looking back, it was an odd way, right? A returning Statlander out of nowhere gets her second defense of the night, whatever. You put on Statlander, right? And to your point, they've done dick all with it since. Move it around. Bounce it. Have it change every fucking month.
The TNT title?
Yeah, I don't care. Just bounce it around. Start.
Do something with it.
I would
Ruby
like to see that as well. I like when there's one title that stays with longer runs, but you have your lower mid card title moves around a bit.
Yeah. Goes to Ruby for a month. It goes to Willow for 2 weeks, and then Saraya gets it out of nowhere, and then she drops it to Britt, and then Britt, just have it go around. Who cares?
I think I could see Ruby taking it for a short run and dropping it to Willow. I would be very on board with that.
That makes sense.
Another in the 4 column of Ruby winning the TBS title, I think moving her over to Collision would be a nice change of pace. The Outcast thing has run its course. You can have some blow up between Tony and Saraya on Sunday, and then just send Ruby over to Collision to win the TBS title.
Well, they've been, and Jamie, what's your thoughts on this? Because they started to they've been planting some seeds on that, right? Saraya's been a little bit here and there, just because she has other things going on, whatever stuff happening. They've started repackaging Tony already, and Heather made a mention of this. Another fantastic event that happened on Tony. Tony interviewed the new woman backstage. It's still Lexi Nair, but she's the new woman this week. Whoever was here last week sucked. She's got this very odd Mrs. Doubtfire British thing going on here with like fancy robes and the gloves and stuff, and she's trying to be all like prim and proper. Ruby's kind of being her Ruby self, like she was like pre what are these called? Outcasts, right? So in a way they're starting to differentiate within this faction. And I think you hit the nail on the head that they're leading towards a post all-in breakout, which would be great because then you can do different things with them. You can, if you want to make Ruby face again, fine, right? If you want to make them all heel but make them separate heels, fine, right? But I think there's going to be some factions there. It's like they're actually trying to do something with the women's division. Granted, it's with the same 6 or 7 people, but they're actually doing something.
The thing though, gentlemen, is you have to protect Saraya. Like, she can't wrestle like she used to. She's gotten better.
Yeah.
She is literally one botch away from being in a wheelchair.
Yeah.
And she can't wrestle every week, right? So they have to protect her. So they have to put her in some sort of faction, which makes a lot of sense. But, maybe it is Tony going on her own and those two going to Collision. And then they start building up a group of heels over there. And Tony just goes batshit crazy. And you don't know if she's face or heel, but you are just invested because she is nuts.
Still throwing shoes at the end of every interview now to Lexi Nair. Which is
like I love the whole crazy thing, like because it really worked with Chelsea Green, like in TNA. Like I love the crazy Chelsea Green thing. They could do it here with her. I think that makes a lot of sense. I still think you protect Saraya with Ruby and maybe add some people over there. Put him over on Collision because Collision needs a breath of fresh air over there, and then you can build some women over here. Maybe Mariah May. Throwing that name out there because she's officially a free agent from Stardom. Would love to see her over here. She'd make a lot of sense in a lot of ways.
Yeah, I do gotta say, I love Tony's new gimmick. One thing that they don't do enough is have someone take a devastating loss poorly. Like Tony Storm lost the women's world title and is not taking it well. And that's a story I can easily understand watching. Like, that's character development. That's interesting. That's sad Baron Corbin all over again. Like that was the most thing we have to do with him is have somebody show me that they care about this shit so much that it literally affects them when they that's how much that title meant. Like I am 100% bought in on that.
So, and Heather had said this, and I've been saying this for a minute, and I am pitting this said comment because people are worried that Saraya is going to win. I feel like one of two things is going to happen. I'm going to take the pin out of Jericho and then for just a second, just talk about this because the way that's built up, I don't necessarily believe that they are going to have both Brits win. One of them will.
Yep.
And I am leaning more towards Ospreay, which is the obvious. But Saraya would be a quick, easy pop, and then that could easily create the dissension of Tony as well. Of just going further, like her friend got it and she didn't.
That
gives
you a match for the next Sunday too.
Exactly. Or then you have Sheeta versus whoever, because I feel like titles gotta change there, and then the winner faces Sheeta at All Out. I feel like that makes the most sense. Like you could easily do that. Hey, loser, okay, you invoke your clause the next week, and then you could win it back or whatever. We can figure it out. But I feel like that would you make the fans happy. I know Heather doesn't like it, but I feel like that makes a ton of sense.
The only reason why I think there's a chance Saraya could win is because there's another pay-per-view a week later, and she would need to immediately drop the title. Like if they were to give her a serious run, as limited as she is, just physically, like she can't be out there wrestling every week. There's already not enough focus on the women's division as it is. putting the belt on someone that can't go out there. And when you do have like the top of your women's division, especially once you get Hayter back, whatever that may be, Sheeta can go. You're getting Thunder Rosa back soon, and Thunder Rosa can go when she's in there with someone that can.
Tony's top talent. Ruby's a solid worker. I mean, you've got it.
I could see. So that's the only thing. Like, if Saraya wins, she's going to drop it the next week, or she's certainly better. But what singles match at All Out with Saraya do you like really want to see?
Only one I want to see would be her and Tony, honestly, because that's a storyline to that one. The other one's
a story, but I still wouldn't want to see that over Sheeta wrestle anyone else that can go.
Agreed, 100%.
One, I would say, far less than likely scenario is it would be dope if maybe Sheeta retains and then Thunder Rosa returns and they set up Sheeta and Thunder Rosa at All Out. I'd be on board with that. I would say it seems unlikely Sheeta's leaving with the title now.
It feels like they have to, and then they can set up Sheeta, or she retains, to your point, and they set up Thunder Rosa the next week.
Unless Rosa's coming back, it just seems like they're going to put it on any of the other three.
I mean, I still believe this is the one match where I can see any four of them walking out with it. Because of this, just like, what do you do next bit? That leads me to believe that maybe Sheeta's fine holding it. Britt Baker, right? You talk about Thunder Rosa coming back. Who better for her to come back against than the one person who would actually make sense, which is Britt Baker, right? That's their feud.
And I mean, I could also see them just looking at it as Britt's just been kind of spinning her wheels since dropping the title. It's been long enough. Maybe you do put it back on her for a while. Probably not longer than like a 6-month run or something, but I could see them doing that. It wouldn't be the worst decision in the world. I think she's much more interesting as a champion.
It's got a good angle for when Hayter comes back.
Yeah.
But Britt's banged up pretty bad. Like, that's the reports that have been coming out that
her back
that I've read. Like, her back's pretty messed up. Like, she's gonna probably need some time off to heal. Maybe this is where they write her out so she can, and then you reinsert a Thunder Rosa or a Mariah May, somebody like that can come in and be a top tier talent instantly, and fill her void. I feel like Thunder makes a lot of sense. But yeah, I feel like they could do that, then have her come back, and then when she's 100% Britt is a pretty good Britt, and she probably needs a little mental break too. Like, we all see it. So let's give it to her. But if Saraya wins, it's fan service only.
So I'm not familiar with Mariah May. Like, how big of a deal is her being signed? Like, is she coming right to the top of the card, or is she promising?
Go
ahead.
Yeah, she's in Stardom.
Okay.
And she is known as the foreign effing ace.
Okay. So, and again, I was genuinely asking because, like, I watch TJPW from time to time, but I don't really catch any Stardom. If she's that big of a deal and that good, put Sheeta over, have her show up afterwards, and then do Sheeta and her All Out, and just put the belt on someone brand new and make them a big deal.
Yeah. You know who Tiffany Stratton is? Hold on real quick. Tiffany Stratton.
Yeah, the girl from NXT, right?
Yeah. She's basically an English clone of her.
Word.
Like, they look almost identical. She might be a little bit taller and has a much better moveset, other than the PME is.
And I don't know, I don't necessarily know what the timeline of her, like, if she's available to show up right away, but if you've got someone that's like that talented and is a top level star, you know they could be that. Why not just strap the rocket ship to them right away? Light a fire in the women's division.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like they need anything to do that, and a good part of me knows. I know that Tony was like, booking wise, he was heartbroken that Hayter couldn't make Wembley, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
He's been working to try and get Julia over here, right? So there's that. I feel like the more I thought about it, because initially I see Maria May and I see her, and Jamie told me that she's a free agent. She turned off her big cartel store today, blah blah blah. I'm like, she's going to the Fed, 100%, right? Because you look at her and you think, yeah, Vince McMahon wants that in his organization, right? But to Jamie's point, they already have that over there. So, and she can actually wrestle, so she kind of doesn't fit with the WWE standards. I'm sorry. That was mean, but kind of true.
It's not like my critique of Sky Blue earlier is applicable to pretty much every woman I see wrestle in NXT these days.
Mm-hmm.
Which is sad because just a couple years ago it was not that. Like so NXT had some of the best women's wrestling in the world. That's not based out of Japan because the Joshis are in their own category of pro wrestling. But
it was so good. Oh my god.
Yeah. So let's move off of the women's wrestling because we've been here for a hot minute. Because I know we could be here forever.
We tend to like linger around this issue. One day we're gonna get good booking. It's gonna be fine. Let's move on, Jamie.
Yeah. So footnote wise, I don't know if this is necessarily. It's kind of a bad pun here. The Acclaim came out. House of Black starts attacking him, and then here comes Billy Gunn. Billy Gunn cuts a promo about how they threw away because they did a video thing where they threw away his boots. So he's coming back, but it's not Daddy Ass who's coming back. It's the Badass. So Badass Billy Gunn and the Acclaimed going up against the House of Black at All In. We get the match that we wanted, or at least JJ wanted. Give him his credit here, 100%. This is gonna be a good match. We already know it, and you don't need a big build.
Need no build for this.
I mean, they've kind of been building it for a while now.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Got storyline. You don't need a build.
Yeah, I'm not sure I would prefer having Badass Billy Gunn over just Daddy Ass. Like, Daddy Ass has become such a beloved character. Just make it like Daddy Ass's Last Ride or something like that.
I mean, how different is Badass Billy Gunn from Daddy Ass?
Yeah,
not vastly different. Let's be real.
Yeah, like you're kind of the same dude, and if you go back and watch a lot of the Attitude Era, it wasn't as great as, especially a lot of the DX stuff. So like, and that's the thing. Yeah, Daddy Ass has gotten more over than Badass Billy Gunn ever was.
Right.
But I mean, that's a minor nitpicky thing. It's I get it's something like an attraction for the end of this. It could also be something where, you know, maybe you're getting casual fans in the UK that just see Badass Billy Gunn and they're like, oh, I remember him. Like, they haven't been watching AEW. They're like, all right, cool. Maybe we'll go see this. So it's a minor thing. Yeah, outside of that, the rest of me though.
At least it wasn't cute Kip.
Yeah, I just honestly, I was like, he's like, I'm not coming, like, and then next thing you know, you hear, ass man. You know?
If I hear ass man, I'm gonna lose my shit, man. I'll have eggs and coffee all over the fucking office here because I'm gonna lose my shit. It's gonna be great. I love that song.
It's possible for Tony Khan to buy the rights to that for an evening.
I mean, yeah,
I'm an ass man. God, dude, if that's what he came out to, I would die.
Oh, that would be so good.
So no surprise here. So basically they filled out the card then tonight, with all that, which leaves us with one less thing to talk about.
Two things left.
Yeah, we skipped over Jericho and Ospreay.
Yeah, so let's take the pin out of Jericho and Ospreay because we can easily end with the. I mean, no, let's just do this.
No.
Ring of Honor Tag Team Championship, Aussie Open versus the Hardys.
It was a match.
It happened.
It was a match. Aussie Open, obviously he's going to win that match. They won. Then they said that there would be no double clotheslines. There would be no kangaroo kick. There would be none of that. And then here comes MJF, Adam Cole. They have the little stare down. Then they start, getting some fisticuffs. And there was almost a kangaroo kick. And then they started working together, and Adam Cole was going to super kick one of the guys. I can't remember which one off the top of my head. Fletcher, thank you. Kyle Fletcher. Yes, Kyle Fletcher. And he ducked out of the way, and he almost got MJF. They had a little stare down type thing, and then MJF put the ring on, and he's like, I'm going to punch him. They took it off. He's like, Cole. And they hugged it out. They broed out. So, yeah.
Same argument I had before. You don't need to. You've built it up. Right.
Yeah.
It's
yeah. So I was just gonna gloss over the main because it was literally attack. There was 8 minutes left in the show when it started. They did some overrun for the post, but like, why was that the main? I know you wanted to go home with the Adam Cole. It just,
Yeah.
I thought as a go home show, it was really good up until about the main event. It just kind of took the wind out of the sails a bit.
Yeah.
When they did the MJF held up Fletcher and Cole went for the super kick and Fletcher moves and MJF catches the boot and then gets really mad at Adam Cole. Sometimes things happen that, and maybe it's just me, I'm too logical sometimes. Some things just take me right out of the moment. MJF catches the boot and he's staring at Adam Cole like, how could you do this? Motherfucker, you were holding it.
Like the guy in front of your body.
It was completely up to you. If you got kicked in the face, it is because of your own actions, dude.
Yeah, that was so bad. And the fact that those guys had 3 total segments, basically, like, yeah, that's why I went to end on Ospreay and Jericho.
Let's do it because that was okay, let's do that. Let's go.
Really quick though on that, the Dynamite Diamond Ring thing was like the final thing that made me think MJF is staying a heel, because that's the hallmark of his entire heel run is pulling that ring out, and hitting motherfuckers with it.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Jamie's got me convinced. I'm full on double turn time. I'm full.
I think Cole's gonna try and turn 2, but I think MJF.
He's gonna turn
I think
harder.
that plays into Roddy's comment of you'll see who the real MJF is and the real Cole is. The real MJF is who we always knew he was. The real Cole is who we were kind of hoping he wasn't. Like, if you're watching in the story, like, you hope this isn't the Adam Cole that you remember doing all the horrible shit in NXT. But, like, it's really just him, too. So, like, I could see him both doing heel shit. But we'll find out.
All right. So Jericho Ospreay, they had their official contract signing, and you know how contract signings go in wrestling without a hitch, always.
No drama. It's a very legal process. It's
yeah, just really boring.
It's like a mortgage. Just
shout out to Dean Alexander, who we happened to see standing out there.
Dino!
The big tall guy. Looked like he didn't want to be there, but anyway.
That's his natural look. I don't want to be here.
Kind of his natural look. All right, so the contract signing. Like, before that, they had this little quick thing about Sammy being there for his friend. Whatever, I really don't care. But then Callis talks about his actions because Callis grabs the mic first. And the crowd was all over Callis, but the person who delivered, definitely Iron Sheik Heat. But when Ospreay grabbed that mic,
oi,
the oys
oi!
And the bruvs, like. Oh, dude, like, I love that. And he's like, this match is going to put me in a stratosphere. Like, I'm going to be Kenny Omega, Okada, and you in 2 months. It's like, strap a rocket ship to my back because in 6 months, my contract's up. I'm like, oh, yes, like, this is the best. He dropped a bomb tonight. Amazing. I didn't know he could talk that well, to be honest.
I thought it was all great, fantastic. Yeah, the personal side with the family, my wife and my 4-year-old stepson at home, and this and that, and the journey, the contract, right? Expiring. It was all good for Ospreay, and not to say it wasn't for Jericho, but my God, Ospreay. Oh, I don't know how he can lose this match.
You can't.
Yeah, there's no way. I have not really been on the Ospreay train. Like, I've seen his Omega matches. I've seen a few other matches here and there. I enjoy his matches. Like, it's talked about in the past. Like, the more spottier stuff isn't what pulled me in, but I'm happy to watch it while it's there. Ospreay made me significantly more interested in anything he does with that promo tonight. Like, that was absolute flames. And it even started, it was a little too many of the brubs, and I was like, who is this, like, wannabe Logan Paul TikTok boy looking kind of dude over here? And then he like seamlessly transitioned into talking about like just basically telling you why he's the best in the world and he's gonna beat the shit out of Jericho and all of his accolades. And he got me excited about him signing with AEW in 6 months. Like
Yes.
that was the first I've seen him actually talk outside of a few things here and there. And
Right.
like now I get it. Like, yeah, that's absolute A-level top star material right there.
I mean, even his post, like, and Jamie's very big in New Japan, of course, right? You know, so his post-match stuff over there isn't that in depth or that long that he does over in New Japan.
No, it's more, clinical about what's going on. He's way more arrogant. I mean, he's more of a heel over there, and over there you can cuss or whatever because it's Japan, I guess. I don't know. But like it's a different style of promo there. Like a few guys can transcend the promo over there to here. And he definitely did it tonight. And I thought it was great though, like when Jericho talked about, hey, you used to be a spot monkey until I called you because you were going to be in a wheelchair. Like I love that piece of it too because that's 100% accurate too because Ospreay used to be a huge spot monkey. Like the match.
Him and Ricochet.
Yeah, that's exactly where I was going.
If you want to see a spot monkey match, Austin, watch him and Ricochet from 20.
I've seen the clips. That was the one where like the first. Is it him or is it Zack Sabre Jr.? The one where the first 2 minutes of them just flipping back and forth, dodging shit.
That's those two.
That one? Okay.
That's that one.
Yeah.
Is that
Okay.
one? Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's the sickest thing. Like he's gonna do a reverse German suplex off the top rope, and he flips out of it and just stands up like it's nothing.
Then
like,
a flip out
ridiculous.
segment for like a solid minute where they end up both just then kind of sitting cross-legged on the mat looking at each other. It's
Yeah. But that's your stuff. But like
Spot
his
Monkey
style
Central, yeah.
and legit, Ospreay's speaking truth.
Mm-hmm.
He is. I'm gonna say this now. I'll take all the heat, whatever you guys want to throw at me. He is bar none the best wrestler in all of wrestling right now.
I have no argument with that.
Period.
I would still go Danielson, but
Okay.
I would certainly consider your arguments. Not that I'm telling you to make a case or anything.
Yeah.
I would just personally go Danielson, but I wouldn't fault anyone for going Ospreay.
My opinion is Will Ospreay in 2023 is Kenny Omega in 2017.
Which was also Bryan Danielson in like 2006.
That's not a bad argument either, too. Yes.
Yeah.
So, I feel like it's just another. He's just a little bit younger. Is all that it is.
Yeah.
And in 6 months, he's gonna make millions, being the draw in AEW. Because hopefully in 6 months, honestly, it's probably time for Jericho to go do Jericho things somewhere else.
Or be the general manager of one of these shows.
Yeah, just like go on a Fozzy tour for a while or something like that. Oh, also really quick, since I mentioned it, did y'all see that Fozzy will be performing Judas live at All In?
I did.
I get it. Like, it's probably a cool moment for the live crowd and all that. Like, fine, but I don't know. It seems like a weird distraction almost from what should just be a showcase of Will Ospreay.
I mean, especially because it's somebody that's in that match. The lead singer is in the match.
Yeah, like, is he going to stand the entire way down to the ring?
Maybe.
Is he going to perform the whole song and then they'll just play it, or the band will keep playing and then he'll walk down? Like,
I don't think he can sing in the Painkiller gimmick, Heather. I think he's going to come out as Jericho, right?
Is he going to perform Judas, go to the back, put his Painkiller makeup on, and then come back?
No. I don't think there's going to be any Painkiller because Chris's part of it, Jamie. I think he started to lean into this, a little bit, but Chris's part was actually really freaking good too.
Mm-hmm.
It was more of a kind of more classical Jericho, promo, right? It wasn't the Ocho or the Wizard or any of his more recent shit. It was Chris Jericho.
Yeah, it was actually Jericho.
I think that's the Jericho we're going to get in Wembley is just Chris Jericho. Not the Painkiller, not any of the JAS bullshit or any of this, but Jericho.
Maybe the Lionheart. That'd be cool.
Lionheart's basically Jericho, but yeah.
It is, yeah. But yeah, so then obviously fisticuffs happen, and you know, in typical signing
that slap was good.
So
Yeah. I would say just in general about this segment, really quick. I really wish if any single gimmick could be retired from pro wrestling, contract signings would be up there at the top of my list.
Contract signings, yes. What about weddings? They can't be far down on that list.
Weddings are still up there for me because they're just infrequent enough, and they're always a fucking train wreck.
Yes.
Like,
I love the weirder the wedding, the better. What was that? I can't remember who got married, but somebody over in Impact a while ago got married, and it ended with somebody in a Marshmallow Man costume getting murdered, and Tommy Dreamer standing over his body. It was Rosemary. It was Rosemary's wedding.
Yeah.
And it's just going, why? As they're going off the air. I mean, wrestling weddings.
Yeah. Wrestling weddings, like, they're never great, but they're always entertaining. It's always just like as weird, like you know it's not going to go through, but that's fine because you don't necessarily know how it's going to get wrecked. Bischoff pretending to be the pastor for Billy and Chuck's wedding and calling out 3-minute warning was like an all-time great moment.
Yeah.
Or Maki Ito singing L is for the way you look tonight at Matt Cardona and Chelsea Green's renewal of vows in GCW.
That's so good.
Yeah.
All right. So real quick, we're gonna do a blind reaction to the card.
Right.
So basically, I'm gonna name off a match. You just instantly give me who you think's gonna win. And then we don't have to get in depth. We're just gonna do that because obviously we're gonna go over that in the post show and all that good stuff, and then we're
These
gonna
are
go over
not
it next
our
Wednesday.
official picks, by the way. That will be on there.
Not official. And then before we go anywhere, Price is Right rules are in effect.
Price is Right rules have never been in effect. We have not used Price is Right rules. Closest to it is the winner. Period.
It won't matter. I'll win. All right. So
you heard it here, folks. He confirmed it won't matter. So no Price is Right rules. Austin, no Price is Right rules.
He did confirm it.
I did because I'm gonna win. It's fine.
All right.
All right. So we're gonna start off with the women's match: Saraya, Tony, Britt, Sheeta.
I'm gonna go with Saraya.
I'm gonna go with Cheetah.
I'm going with Saraya as well.
I'm on hold out for Mariah May coming out afterwards.
Yeah. All right. Golden Elite going up against Takeshka and the Bullet Club.
Elite.
I'm gonna go Elite as well.
I'm going Takeshka. All right.
I'll put my money on Juice Robinson taking a pin.
Yeah, I mean
that's easy.
Fair.
That's a pretty safe bet.
All right, so we have the BCC and versus Eddie Kingston and friends.
Ooh,
That's a tough one.
This one is
BCC.
tough. Stadium Stampede. Yep.
Yep, Stadium Stampede.
No, I said I'm going BCC, but also yes, Stadium
BCC.
Stampede.
Yeah. I'm gonna go BCC as well.
BCC as well. All right, we have Sting and his son Darby going up against Swerve and Christian
Sting.
Cage.
Sting and Darby.
Sting.
Christian and Swerve.
Ooh.
Because of Edge. It's easy. All right. House of Black versus the Acclaimed with Badass Daddy Ass.
I'm going Acclaimed.
Going House of Black.
I'm going Acclaimed as well. All right, now we're getting to the nitty gritties. CM Punk versus Samoa Joe for the real World Championship.
CM Punk.
CM Punk.
Punk.
I want to
That's
see
easy
Joe,
there.
but yes.
Jericho Ospreay.
Ospreay.
Ospreay. FTR versus Bucks. This is where it could get.
This is where it gets interesting. I think it's gonna be Bucks.
Yeah, it hurts me to say this. My heart says FTR. My head
Same.
says the Bucks.
Same.
That's exactly where I'm at. I think it's all because of the legal issues.
Yep.
All right.
Oh, we'll talk about it. Yeah, we'll talk about it another time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. And then finally, your main event. I'm not gonna do the 0 hour because I really don't care about it. Adam Cole versus MJF.
I'm going Cole.
I'm going MJF.
I'm going Cole.
So, that was a speed round of some picks.
It was.
If you want to get some more official picks and see what actually happened, we're going to talk about this on Sunday. We haven't decided on a time yet. It's a daytime pay-per-view, so it's a little bit different for us. So,
yeah. I mean, we could go right after, but that's just kind of weird to be like, well, how long is this thing going to be?
That's the thing we don't know.
6.
So
it starts at 6 there, so that's noon.
It starts at noon here. Tony doesn't like going over 4 hours.
4 hours. So it'll be 4 o'clock, 4:30, 5 o'clock.
I would imagine at least 4, maybe a little over that, but not by much.
Yeah.
So it would be at least 4:30 or 5 that we might go on. Might be later, depending on what all three of us have. We're going to talk about it as soon as we get done with this here live podcast, and we will 100% let you guys know via Twitter and everything else. But probably shoot for, I would say, around like early evening Central Standard Time is when we're looking at 5, 6, something like that.
And to be safe, ladies and gentlemen, just hit that notification button. You'll know when we go live.
Get a little bell, you'll know. Right.
Make it easy.
Right.
Don't forget that like and subscribe too. It really helps us.
But
trying to get to 100.
Do you guys have any final thoughts about Go Home? Anything for All In before the pay-per-view that you want to talk about?
I think we talked about everything.
Just the pay-per-view as a whole. I know I have seen some people not super thrilled with the card, but this reminds me, this reminds me of the early WrestleManias. Like, you had a couple things with some big stories, and it was just an event. Like, they're packing 80,000 people in a stadium. I think it's supposed to be more of an attraction than necessarily, like, your big flagship show to blow off everything. Like, you got to have some stories, but overall, I'm hyped for the card. I think it's going to be a real fun, I was going to say night, but I guess afternoon of wrestling.
Yeah. Well said.
Jamie?
I don't have anything other than my movie quote totals.
I already noticed 3, but
we were
talking about some pretty thrilling shit all night.
I missed a bunch, I'm sure. But I had you down for 6. 6 is what I tallied.
I had 7.
Damn it! I'm one off again.
Because I started off, I don't know if you noticed it right off the bat, like the button, who's got the button? That is from Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory.
That's the one I missed.
My favorite movie of all time.
Well, to end it off here, I want to see if they're going to do anything. Like, we know Fozzie's doing that. That's been announced. But this is, like you said, old WrestleManias. This is the biggest wrestling show that's been produced, size-wise, right? So I want to see what else stuff's going to have. Are they going to have some other crazy-ass entrances? Are they going to do are they going to do little carts? They're not going to do little carts. But I want to see them do the little carts. Something cool. Like, what's going to be around everything else?
But I could totally see Tony Khan getting an old WrestleMania style cart put together just because he's a huge mark, and that's why.
Maybe just for a match too. Maybe not for the whole thing, but maybe for like one match or something. You know.
They're probably gonna need it to get Sting down to the ring.
I mean, Wembley's a big ass place. So,
yes.
Tune in with us on Sunday. I said we don't know the exact time. We're not 100% sure about. Grado better show up. Thank you, Heather. Heather said it. Give me Grado. I want Grado. Put him on the buy-in. Grado, what'd you say? Grado, Jeff Jarrett, Jamie?
Jarrett.
Yes.
Jeff Jarrett's got to be on the pay-per-view somewhere. Probably the buy-in, but he's got to be on there somewhere.
You got to have Grado. Give me Grado. All right. So, we'll be back Sunday, post-show, early afternoon. So, like I said, 5, 6. We'll see when the pay-per-view gets over. We'll talk about it a little bit here. But just be forewarned, probably like 5 or 6, so early afternoon. As always, if you don't catch us live, you can always watch the replay here on YouTube. You can follow us on your favorite podcast provider if you just want to hear us, our sweet, sweet voices whispering in your ear. We are back every Wednesday live in the evening after Dynamite. We'll talk about the post All Out next week, and Maybe there'll be a card for All In, excuse me, and maybe there'll be a card for All Out. Who knows? Potentially, there might be a card by this time next week. I don't think so, but we'll find out. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. We appreciate you guys giving us some of your time. Jamie, take us home, man.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, if you're not down with Total Spotfest, I got 3 words for you. Dusty sucks eggs.
Forever.
All hail the Funker.
Rest in peace, Funk. All right, guys. We'll see you on Sunday.
Yep. Peace.